Hi everyone, thanks for joining in this morning. I'm doing some crafting, working on some glass jars and bottles. So I thought I would do a live and you can craft with me and I can answer any of your DIY questions or anything that you're struggling with, and maybe I can guide you along. If you go into the comments, ask your questions. I'll check back and forth while I'm working away here and I'll answer them for you. The biggest thing that people are always wanting to talk about in my comments is the Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer method. That's a long handle. Fantastic technique though. You don't need a Cricut, you don't need stencils. All you need is a printer and some Mod Podge, and you can put beautiful graphics on your projects. I'm going to work away, like I said, on some glass jars. And we already have people popping in saying hello. Let me know down in the comments where you're watching from, because when I go back to these lives and I look through them, we have people from all over the world joining us here, and it's so fun to see where everyone's from. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and we have people, like I said, from all over the continent joining here. So we got Valerie. Hi Valerie, thanks for joining, making our own DIYs. Good morning. And let's just get right to work. I'm not all about like fluff talking. I like to craft and get right at it and teach you guys if you need any help. So we got Cincinnati, we got Daytona, Manchester, Kentucky, Virginia, Georgia, the Philippines, Switzerland. See, this is why this is so cool, seeing where everyone is from. And Dandy, she loves my transfer tips. I just made some for fun to see how it works. I hope it worked out for you. We got Syracuse, New York, Tennessee, Texas, Oregon, Salem, Kathleen from Salem, Oregon, and another Oregon. We got lots of people from Oregon. Okay, so I'm going to Australia. I'm going to move my camera down so you can see what I'm working on. Hang tight here. Oh, we got another Switzerland and Buffalo, New York. This is so fun. I love doing this. And the technology here, I'm always struggling to make sure that I do this stuff right. So we got our camera hooked up. This is what I am working on today, some glass jars and bottles. So let's start from the beginning. Your transfer tips are great. I'm glad that they worked out for you, Shannon. And New Jersey, Massachusetts, Texas. Good morning. We got lots of people joining in here on a Friday morning. I actually woke up this morning and I'm like, I just want to craft. I don't want to film any videos. I don't want to do any editing. I don't want to do any paperwork. I just want to craft. So these are my glass jars that I have just pulled out of the recycling bin. I've saved them. This looks like it might have been a little wine bottle. This was a jar of olives. 2 pickle jars, and what I did was I painted my glass first. I have a full tutorial on how to paint glass properly because it can be a little bit tricky, and if you don't do it properly when you do this technique, as soon as you introduce the water on it, you're going to rub that paint off underneath. So if you haven't seen that video, how to paint glass jars and bottles, I'll put that link after this video is done. I'll put that link down below in the description, because it's really key to this process to have it work properly, to have your your glass painted properly. And it is just a little bit of primer and I use my homemade chalk paint, and the chalk paint is what's key for this technique. Okay, so let's work on the little one first. Let me know down in the comments if you have tried this technique on glass jars or bottles before and whether you've had some success with it. This one is a beautiful tea graphic and all the graphics on all of my projects are available in my Etsy store. If you haven't gone over and checked that out, you can head over there and check my Etsy store out. If you're a channel member, make sure you're using your coupon for 50% off. And if you're a Patreon member of my graphics club, you can get 70% off of all of my graphics. And with my Patreon club, you get graphics delivered to your inbox every Friday night at midnight for you to craft with. So, okay, so what I did, this is just a little dish of water, a little rag, just a little tiny rag, and I'm just wetting this graphic until you can just start to see the graphics show through. So this is the difference. See, this one's not wet. This one is. See how you can see the graphics show through? You don't want to make it soaking wet. I just realized I didn't put my mic on. I hope you guys can hear. The technology some days is like way too much for me. So hopefully I'm not screaming at you without my mic on. Crap. Anyway, okay. We got Oregon. I love doing this technique and sell them when I get to craft pair. Yeah, and the thing with these techniques is they don't look mass produced. Everyone looks different and original and unique, and they do sell really well. So I have dampened this just so you can start to see the graphics show through. If you put too much water on, you're going to start rubbing that paint off and the graphics not going to stay on properly. So just put enough on so the paper gets wet. Now the other trick to this is don't use expensive paper. Just use a really cheap computer paper because it's thinner and you won't have as much paper to rub off afterwards. If you're using a really expensive one, of course your paper's thicker, you've got to put more water on it, and it takes longer to rub off. This is just Amazon paper, and it's really thin, and it works great, just the cheapest stuff that you can buy. And I just like using my finger and just going back and forth, and as I'm doing that, you can see that, and if you need to, I just dip my finger in a little bit of water, go in that area that's being a little bit stubborn, and just rub it off. We can hear you. Yeah, I hope it's not too harsh because without my mic, it's not as nice. I tried this last night and failed, but we'll try again. I rubbed the paint off. Thanks for the trips. Okay, so if you're finding that you're rubbing the paint off, then probably you are using too much water. So you can see I haven't put much water on this at all. I got one little area right here that had some paper on it. I just lightly dip my finger and then just go over that area. And you can feel when the paper's all gone. So like this corner right here, there's no more paper that's rubbing up. You can see that it's all gone. And then as you come over, see how there's still paper there? And you just work in small sections. If you're trying to do a big section all at once, you're probably not going to have really great results. You just want to go small sections, dip your finger after the initial wet, after you initially wet all the paper, and then just work. I find this actually kind of therapeutic. I'll just sit here, I'll put a podcast on or some music, or I'll put another YouTube video on, crafting one, and just work away and do this and just take my time. As soon as you start to rush, you're gonna have problems and you're gonna rub that off. Okay. Do you have any fingerprints left? I don't know. My fingers have just, you don't have to rub hard. And that's one of the things that people are always saying is, oh my goodness, but I'm not. Like you can see, I'm just using a light touch with my thumb or finger, and it rubs off. You don't have to rub hard. If you have just a little bit of water on your finger and you work in a small area, the paper will come off, as you can see here. Bancroft, Carolyn, you are not far from me. I am only about an hour and a half from you in Bancroft, and we have a beautiful day here. It is a little bit hazy. We've had a lot of forest fires around us the last little bit. So we've been struggling with some air quality stuff, and today's a little bit worse than it has been in the last couple days, but we're getting through and the sun is peeking out. Hopefully you're okay there. New Zealand, welcome Tracy. If you have any crafting questions about this technique, now is the time and the place to ask me. And a lot of times if you're working on a project and you're struggling, if you follow me over on Instagram or Facebook, you can send me pictures over there. And as soon as I have a look at it, I can probably tell what you've done wrong and guide you along. So don't feel bad about sending me pictures over there. Join me, and I try to be really good about getting back to people and answering as many questions as I can. I'm all about being able to support you guys and help you along, because if you can master this, these are great sellers if you're doing craft sales or even to sell on Marketplace. If you can get this technique down to pat and you can pull stuff out of your recycling bin, make decor like this and sell it and make some money, I'm all about that. So good morning, Deb. Thanks for joining. Okay, so this one, I think I've got it pretty good. Now you can see there's a little bit that's still rubbing off on my finger.
I'm just going up and down really lightly, and you can feel it. Like a lot of people have said, can I use the rag to do the whole thing? I find you can't, because you can't feel the paper and whether it's rubbed all off or not. So the last little bit is best to do with your fingertips. So that's done. So what I would do next, now because we're on a live, I can't go through and do all the step by step, but what I would do now is I would put some polyacrylic sealer on top of this to seal it all up. Or you could use Mod Podge. I don't like the look of Mod Podge as much as a polyacrylic sealer, but that will seal it all up. It's not going to make it waterproof. You're not going to be able to throw it in the dishwasher, but it will allow you to wipe it down with a damp rag if you need to and dust it. So that one's done. I would probably put a little bit of burlap around the top, twine along the top, and you could put some fresh flowers in here. Perfect gift for somebody that's a tea lover too. So that one's all done. That was so easy. Now see here, I'm going to show you what happened here. So when I was putting my water on, it dripped down to this corner, and this is where I was holding it, and it's rubbed the paint off. So that is one thing that can happen, but it's not that big of a deal because you can go back afterwards and you can touch up all of these little bits of paint, or you can even take, if you wanted to make this more distressed, you could just take some paint or some water on your finger and just rub in little areas and distress it. And you'll see it'll start to rub, and you can, it's going to take a little bit, but, or you could just use a little piece of sandpaper, but it'll just kind of make it, let me grab some sandpaper. I got a scuff pad here. And you can just kind of scruff it up so it looks, this is kind of a nice primitive look, see? And if you wanted to do that back here, and then you don't have to touch it up, and then you could just kind of do it over your entire bottle. Just makes it look, now you have to wet it a little bit, but you get what I mean. And you could do, see how that just kind of gives it more of a distressed look. So that actually looks nice. I'll probably go back later and I'll do more on that one. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Watching from Brazil. Hello. Okay, I got to go back here because I'm getting all kinds of questions and I want to make sure that I'm answering everything. I've done this on wood a few times and love the method, but I ended up with a noticeable film where the paper was. I'm going to keep trying. Okay, if you're noticing a film, then that is probably you just haven't rubbed all the paper off. This technique is not going to be something that you're going to do the first time and it's going to be perfect. It's never perfect. It's always kind of that rustic feel, transfer method. So I think you just probably need to get more of that paper off. That's good. I'm glad. Hello from Prince Edward Island, Canada, Nancy. Welcome. Watching from Brazil. Did use glue to apply the picture to the jar or acrylic. Oh, sorry. So to apply the graphic onto the jar, I've used my Mod Podge matte. That's the one that I like the most. You can use gloss, but you got to be mindful that you're going to have a glossy finish after you've rubbed all the paper off. I find matte blends in better. Also, this technique works best on white paint background. If you're trying to do a color and you don't have a lot of experience with this technique, you're going to see the outline of the graphic. It just doesn't blend in very well. So when you're just starting, start on a white background and it'll work the best for you. Plus, if you are using white and making these to sell, they sell better. If you are doing stuff with a lot of color, of course, it limits who can buy your products because not everybody has, if you've painted it blue, not everybody has blue in their home. But if you're doing a white background, everybody can make that work and fit into their decor. So that's another thing to think about when you're making these projects. And mine smears. It's because of an inkjet instead of a laser. Yeah, so this technique will work with an inkjet, but it is a bit more tricky. You can't use as much water, and I find the graphic is a little bit more, it's just a little bit more light than the laser printer. If you're going to be doing a lot of these, in the last few years, the price of laser printers has really gone down. I have one that I share my code for It's a Brother laser printer, and I think it's around $199. So if you're doing this as a business, I would myself invest in a laser printer, and it'll save you a lot of headaches trying to kind of fiddle and fight with a inkjet printer. So I'm just dampening this paper once again using, I always seem to go to my thumb. That seems to be the best to kind of control the paper that I'm rubbing off, and it works well. We got Texas, we got yeah, the noticeable outline too. So the other thing is, if you're finding that you have a noticeable outline, you might be putting your Mod Podge on too thick. Mod Podge is not a really thin product. It is a little bit thicker. So if you've put lots on, that's what's transferring that image, and you're going to see all of that outline on your project if you've used too much. So you don't need a whole lot to do the transfer, just a light coat. And if you've been following along here for a while, you've seen lots of videos where I've done these and I've showed you how much Mod Podge I put on. It's not very much. Wisconsin, Manchester, UK. I think if anybody that's here from the UK, I think you guys are already into Friday afternoon. I'm not sure what the time difference is. We are around, what time is it? 9:39 a.m. here Friday morning. I'm right at it. I'm right in business early this morning on a Friday. So again, just working in small areas. I can feel the paper rubbing up underneath, and this one's coming off really well. And did you guys see my video from the other day where I did a bowl doing the reverse decoupage? If you haven't checked that one out, that was such a fun project. I had a glass bowl and I did reverse decoupage. So I used two different types of napkins. So you see the one napkin on the inside of the bowl and another napkin on the outside of the bowl. It was a really fun project. If you haven't checked that out, go back and have a watch of that with that one. Hi, June from Virginia. Do you ever use calcium carbonate instead of plaster of Paris for your homemade chalk paint? I haven't, but I do have lots of friends and followers here that use it, and they've had good results. So it could be a good alternative to try it on. Now, I have, as an experiment, also done this with some baking soda paint as the base, and it worked on that too. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't as good as using the chalk paint, but I did get not bad results with the baking soda paint, and it worked pretty good. Okay. Okay, maybe I used too much Mod Podge. That might have been your issue. Sabrina, what a pretty name, Sabrina. So you're 6:39 a.m. in Cali. You are up earlier than me, girl. Wow. Okay, we're getting there. Now you can see the paper rolling. It's almost dry, and I'm still getting paper rolling up on this. And these glass jars, if you can save them out of your recycling bin for Halloween and Christmas, they sell like hotcakes. So that could be something you might want to start stockpiling a few of them, paint them up, have them ready for the holiday season, because if you want to make a little bit of cash, then this is a great way to do it. This is a beautiful graphic too. I still remember the days I prayed for the things I have now. I love this one. I use talc to make my chalk paint. It's really nice. That is something that I have not done, Valerie. I have never used talc, but that's on my to-do list. And yes, the bowl was beautiful. I love that project. That would be really great to, like I was just saying, for Christmas or for Halloween or fall season, to do that reverse technique. And you could go to the dollar store and buy your seasonal napkins and get 2 different packs and then do that reverse technique on that glass bowl. That would be pretty. It's 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning down. What, Tracy, what in the heck are you doing up this late? That's late. You should be in bed sleeping, but I'm glad that you're here joining me crafting. Okay, so this doesn't look too bad. I'm not feeling too much Sorry if I'm banging away here. I'm still getting a little bit kind of peeling up, but it looks pretty good. I think I got it now. So I'm just going to show you with the white paint, you see how you cannot see an outline anywhere here. So that means that I've put just the right amount of Mod Podge on there so it's blending in. If I had a really thick coat, you would have seen all of that outline around there. So if you're having that, that could be your issue. You're just putting on too much Mod Podge. Again, that one's ready. I'd put some twine or ribbon around the top and you have a nice little vase. I'd spray it with the polyacrylic sealer and you'd have a nice little vase for a gift or to sell or just to make for your home. So the next one, let's work on this one here. Where do you get your graphics? Okay, so all of my graphics that I'm using, I make myself and they're available in my Etsy store. I'll put the link down below in the description and you can check them out. It's right full of really great graphics. And the graphics that end up in my Etsy store are the ones that I know are going to be really good sellers if you're a reseller. So check that out. I'll put the link down below. And if you join my channel here, you'll get a discount code for 50% off all of my graphics. Or if you want to join my Patreon club, you get graphics delivered to your inbox every Friday at midnight. Whatever graphics that I have listed that week in my Etsy store, you're going to get delivered to you weekly. And you'll also get a 70% off discount code for any previous graphics before you join that you can use and craft with. So check that out. I love my Patreon group. You guys are so fantastic for supporting my channel. And I really appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, when those little bits of paper disappear, it is satisfying. I tried this technique on a wooden sign with my Epson EcoTank inkjet printer. It didn't really work. The letters were visible but faint. I ended up going over them with black acrylic paint. Okay, so I've actually had other followers ask if this technique would work on a EcoTank printer, and I didn't have any answers because I didn't really get any feedback from anyone. So that's great that you messaged that, Lynn, because it might be tricky to use that EcoTank printer. Again, like if you're going to be doing a lot of these and you can swing it or save up, that laser printer is going to really make your life a lot easier. But if you only have an inkjet and you are having problems with it transferring, you're right. You can just go back over those letters if you have a good steady hand and use a paint pen and paint over your letters to use it kind of like a stencil and then paint in to fix up your graphics. That would work for sure. Can I water down my Mod Podge to keep it from going so thick? Valerie, you can water it down if you're going to be using it just to decoupage, but if you're going to be using it to do this transfer technique, no. What you're going to do is you're going to thin it down too much and it's not going to do the transfer properly. So if you are finding it's getting too thick, tuck it aside and only use it for decoupaging. And I would just purchase another new bottle to do this graphic technique with. Very talented. Thanks, Tracy. I appreciate it. We shall try again. I haven't tried the jars yet and want to do that too. It looks like crafting. Yeah, it's a perfect day to do some crafting. Okay, so this is really dried out, so I'm just going to go back in with my rag and just kind of re-wet it again. And sometimes I like to start in the middle and then work my way out. And that works really well. Sometimes if you start in a corner and you start pushing down this way, you're going to pull off that first letter. So if you're starting in the middle, that's going to ensure that that's going to help you out a little bit. And if you're just joining, welcome. We're working on some glass jars and bottles. We're doing the reverse technique, which is one of my favorite crafting DIYs, and you guys always love these projects. So I wanted to hop on here while I was working away and answer any of your questions, because in my comments, these are the questions that I get asked the most about. And I think I can kind of claim that I'm an expert at this at this point. I have done so many of these. I am a Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer method guru. I have done so many of these. I can do them in my sleep. I can look at a picture. I can know what you've done. I know what you've done wrong, and I can guide you through it. So, ask away. And if you're joining me later on, if you just leave me a comment, I try to get through all of my comments, and I can help you out too. Is this still live? Yes, Tammy, we are still live here. So ask away if you have any questions, and I can guide you along. And as I said before, the base of these bottles, you guys can't see if you guys can't see off camera when I'm just throwing all this bits and pieces of paper on my floor. I'll clean it up after. When I'm doing a live, I can't move away from my phone very far, or you can't hear me. So don't mind me while I throw this all on the floor. We'll get her later. And yes, so these have been painted with chalk paint. There's a little bit of a technique to painting glass to make sure that it stays really well. I'll put the link to that video down below afterwards, and you can see what works the best for me. And get painting some glass jars. This one looks pretty good. This is actually a really popular graphic, and it's a great gift for somebody that's lost a loved one. In life we loved you dearly, in death we still do. In our hearts you hold a place no one else will ever fill. I love this one, and it's one of my best sellers too, because somebody can buy it for a gift for a friend or a family member that has lost someone. You can add some nice twine along the top, add a couple fresh flowers in the top, and it's beautiful. And I would seal this up with some polyacrylic sealer. Okay, so that one's done. I got one more, so hang tight with me here, guys. We'll finish up this one. So get in those comments and ask me any questions. Okay. So let's just dampen this until we can start to see it show through. And this one's a little bit more difficult because it's on a curve, so you can have to make sure that you can get your paper around that bottle. I've just lost my chat here, so just hang tight for a second while I find it again. Okay, technology. Where did my Facebook chat go? There we are. One second, guys, here while we pull this up. And I've just dampened this, and we're just going to start to rub the paper. Yeah, so this has a curve in it, so it's a little bit more difficult. You want to make sure that you're taking your time and really pressing the bubbles and wrinkles out when you put it on a glass jar or bottle that's curved, and get it so it doesn't look wonky. But this one didn't go too bad, so we're just gonna rub this paper off originally here. I'm just waiting for my chat to come back up here again so I can answer any questions that you have while we work away. Okay. And I always go back to my thumb and rubbing this off. Now you can see this one's got a bit of a curve because my jar was curved, so. But I think it's gonna look all right when it's all done. I could have sized this graphic a little bit smaller and fit it in the band of this glass jar, but I thought it would look nicer if it was kind of down a bit further, so. Okay, I got my chat back up here. Where are we at? Okay. I think I'm gonna break down and get a different printer. Will you link the one? Yes, I'll link my favorite printer. It's a Brother printer, Brother laser printer.
I'm trying all of your techniques. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, and some, you know what, just keep trying all the different techniques. I've been doing this for years and years, so I make it look easy, but when you're just learning, it does take a little bit of patience and to master this technique. I've been looking on Etsy to see what other options are for selling a price. I've been looking on Etsy to see what others are selling and prices. Difficult to be sure. Descriptions say paint, wood, etc. Any suggestions on which are reverse transfer? Yeah, so I have a pricing guide on my Etsy store to price your DIYs. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's kind of a base guideline to price them. And the thing with on Etsy, when you're doing these things, I don't actually see a lot of people doing this technique. That's why it kind of makes it so original and so different. So it is hard to know how to price them because you don't see a lot out there to compare them with. So if you do have, a sec here, I'll see if I can find my, so I do have this booklet and it's how to price your DIYs. It's really great for that. And it goes right through to itemize your calculating the cost of your DIY if you're going to be selling it retail or wholesale. It's a really great resource and worthwhile to pick up out of my Etsy store if you're going to be doing some selling to guide you along to know how to price stuff like this. Hope that helps. I tried the salt technique on an old wood birdhouse just like you did, and when I sanded it, all the sand just sanded it off. It didn't get down to the paint. Okay, so probably, Tammy, what happened was you might have just sanded it too much. You want to just sand it. It's a really rustic look, so you just want to sand it until that paint underneath just starts to show through. The other thing that you could have done wrong is you incorporated the paint into your salt too much. When you're doing that technique, you just want to dab the paint up and down. And if you're painting it on too much, you're going to get all that paint underneath your salt and it's not going to work for you. So if you go back to that video where I'm doing the salt wash paint, you'll see what I mean about not blending it in too much. And I think that might have been what you were having your issue with, was you were just probably doing too many paint strokes and mixing that paint into that salt too much. Give that a try. I did one time with color inkjet and it worked perfectly. The color surprised me. I will say I have done others that weren't so great. Yeah, so sometimes with the inkjet printer, it can be really hit and miss whether it works or not. But if you can get it to work, it really is nice. And where are we at? I've never seen anyone do the reverse technique by you. You invented it. I did not invent it. This has been around for a long, long time. But I love it so much that I just do it on almost everything, where I find a lot of people, they'll go to the Cricut or they'll go to stencils, and that's their transfer method of choice, where this is not. This is the one that I love the most. There's been lots of people that have done it before me, but I've really perfected it. And the thing I love the most about it is it's economical. You do not need to spend a whole bunch of money to use this or do this. And you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on Cricut and vinyl or stencils. You can design a graphic or buy a graphic and make a sign for pennies on the dollar. That's why I love it so much, but I did not invent it. I like that you have reversed your graphics for us. Yes, so when you're buying my graphics out of my Etsy store, one of the files is already reversed, so you don't need to fiddle with that. You can just download that reverse file right onto your computer, print it out, size it, print it out, and use it, and you don't need to fiddle with it. I do have a video on how you can reverse. If you're making your own graphics and you aren't sure how to reverse them, I do have a video on how to do that that will guide you along, though, if you want to custom make something for yourself. Yes, if I'm doing to spend the money on a laser printer, I like the option for color, but want to make sure that it works well. Okay, so I'm actually almost thinking because my laser printer only prints in black ink, and I'm almost thinking myself of investing in a color laser printer. So when I do,
I will definitely let you guys know. I'll bring you along on how it works for me. The color ones are a lot more expensive. I think the one here I saw in Canada that I was looking at, it was around $400. But then again, if you're going to turn this into a business, a $400 investment to make all of these projects is not too bad to start a business. So that might be is going to be my next step, is to buy a color laser printer, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. Wisconsin. Yes, Joan, you caught me live. And I have a color. Okay, so Stan has a color laser printer and it works fantastic. So there you go. I am going to be looking into getting one because I do have, the reason I haven't bought one yet is I do have a color inkjet printer. And I can make this technique work with my color inkjet, but it is trickier and it does take a little bit more time. So that's why I've been hesitant to jump into the color laser, but I think I'm going to, because I could do a color laser transfer in probably half the time as it would take for me to fiddle with a inkjet printer. So yeah. And I'm almost finished this one. Isn't this pretty? Actually, you know what? This worked out really well. I was kind of worried about putting it on that arched surface on this glass jar, but I kind of like the way that this turned out, like this, kind of on that angle. That looks good. And I love this graphic too. Again, this is a perfect little gift to give a friend. You can put some ribbon or some twine around the top, fill it up with some fresh flowers, and you're good to go. How beautiful is that? And again, if you want to distress these a little bit, put a little bit of water on your finger, rub into that paint. This is like a little scuff pad, and you can scuff into it, and it just kind of gives it that rustic look. Like you can see here how some of that paint kind of wore off there. And then you can just rub it a bit. It just kind of gives it more character. So there we go. Let me clean this up here. I'll show you all four that I've gotten done. We've got this one. We've got this one. We've got this one. And we've got this one all finished. All of these are out of my recycling bin. We ate the food. I cleaned them, took the labels off, painted them with my homemade chalk paint method, put the graphics on them, and I've created these beautiful DIYs. And these will all sell really well. I love the graphic as well. Wonderful saying, so meaningful. I've been wanting to try this process. I do have a color laser, and it would be awesome to be able to print any quotes I want. Yes, it is. And if you're handy, so if you wanted to make your own graphics, Canva is a wonderful, wonderful program for that. If you're handy and you can figure out how to use Canva, and try your hand at making some of your own graphics and print them off and do this technique. So I got to finish these up. So I am going to sign off here. In the comments, if you're just watching and you haven't caught my live, I answer all of my comments after, and I'll stay up to date with them. So ask your questions. I'll get back to you. And I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and take care.